What style of clothes do you prefer to wear? I prefer casual clothes which are simple and comfortable. A pair of jeans and a shirt would be perfect. I tend to avoid, okay, not to avoid to wear, avoid wearing. Skirts because it's quite uncomfortable to be active. Also, I don't like khaki color clothes because that makes me look homeless. Okay, all right. Do you worry about being late for appointments? Yes, I worry being late quite a lot. I worry about being late quite a lot because I think that punctuality is related to reliability. I don't want people to think that I'm not a punctual person, so I always try not to be late. Okay. How do you normally manage your time? I use smartphone applications to manage my time, such as Google Calendar and My Duty. I think it's really nice to manage because I can see and add my schedule anytime, and there is a function to set an alarm. When the to-do things come closer. Okay. Probably a good idea to put a hyphen in that, the to-do things. Do you consider yourself to be a punctual person? Yes, yes, I consider myself a punctual person. As I mentioned earlier, it is related to reliability. I personally hate to be late, so I try to pay attention to the time, find the way how long to take to get there, and set alarms up. I think that's easy enough. Otherwise, the sentence becomes a bit too complicated, I think. So. How would you feel about other people if they arrive late for a meeting or appointment? If they have reasonable reasons why they have to be late, then I can understand it. But if they don't, maybe if they don't. I'll be a bit upset. But also it depends on a person. For example, someone has been late. Someone has been late, or okay, someone has been, or just late a few times. Okay. Someone is or just late, just right. The latter, then I can understand. Okay. Do you think it is important for a person to celebrate his or her birthday? I think to celebrate birthdays is important, especially to young people. But to older people older will tend care about their birthday. For example, my father always forgets family birthday, even his birthday too. So when I celebrate his birthday, he looks surprised, surprising, And happy because it isn't that celebration. It isn't that celebration, but that he didn't know about his birthday. And happy because it isn't that celebration. What do you mean? What do you mean by? So when I celebrate his birthday, he looks surprised. That's okay, and happy. Okay, because it isn't that celebration, but that he didn't know about. I can understand that he didn't know it about his birthday because he's forgotten about it. But it's that bit there. It isn't that celebration. What do you mean by that?
He is surprised by he is surprised about he didn't know his birthday.
Right. I think, yeah. Okay. While you were talking, I think I figured it out. Okay. Not by celebration. Oh, and happy, not by the celebration, but that he didn't know about his birthday. That's it. I think that's what you're saying. Right. Do people in Korea celebrate birthdays? Yes, of course. I think celebrating birthdays are common all over the world. I don't know exactly the reason why people celebrate birthdays, but it makes me people feel happy altogether. It makes people. It makes me, or it makes people. It makes people feel happy altogether. Right. Right. How do children celebrate birthdays in your country? Here in Korea, children celebrate their birthdays with their family, of course, as well as okay, as well as with their peer groups and teachers in a kindergarten. Normally they celebrate their birthdays that are on the same month all together monthly. Right. Okay. Oh, what happened here? You didn't finish writing up your story about helping someone from America. What happened there? Did you fall asleep?
Sorry?
Did you fall asleep while you were writing it?
I just I don't want to use English.
You've reached that part of the week when it's all too much for you.
5 days?
You've reached that part of the week, the middle of the week, when it's just too much English.
No, I just from yesterday, I just want to stop studying.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
I didn't go to the academy today.
What, you were supposed to be there today? You were supposed to be there today?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what did you do instead? Did you go out somewhere?
Actually, I slept yesterday after finishing this class, and woke up at 10 a.m. But I don't want to study anymore, but I have to do. So if I stayed at home, then I think I didn't nothing. I didn't do anything. So I went to the cafe for a while and studied a bit again.
So how do you study? Do you take a book with you, or do you just do it, or do you take like a laptop or a tablet or a phone?
I brought my PC and some books.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm trying to encourage many of my students to do at the moment, because a lot of them have got the same issues. You're not so much, but I still think it's useful, and I think it's like, you know, if you give a kid either a phone or a PSP in the past or something like that, and they play game, they have no problem mastering a game on a PSP. They'll sit there for hours doing the same thing over and over again until they can get to the next level, and then they'll get to the next level and get to the next level. I just wish that someone had creatively made an app for learning English like that. Why hasn't somebody done that with English? Because you know, you have to give them some kind of rewards. You have to make it a little bit more exciting, but I'm sure that it's possible to create an educational application for people. The nearest thing that we've got is something like the English Test Store. Now, so I always push people towards the English Test Store, the website with all of these sort of grammatical quizzes on it. And I'm having a real uphill battle with all of my students because they don't want to do it. and yet I know that it makes a big difference. It does work, and I think it's the easiest way to learn grammar. If somebody told me these are the rules of English grammar, I'd fall asleep before they got to the end of the sentence. I'd have no interest in it at all. But if I've got something like the English Test, or where I just sort of, okay, it's articles, I go through the quiz, I see my score at the end of 10 questions, I think, okay, it's not very good, I'll see if I can do. It's like playing a game. It's just like playing a game.
That game.
It's okay, maybe not the most exciting game in the world, but it's still an easier way to learn grammar than to try and trawl through some horrible book explaining. And it's actually the same way that I've learned grammar. I've never really sat down and learned English grammar. Even, and you, just like you probably haven't with Korean. When you started learning to speak as a baby with your parents, they didn't sit down with a grammar book saying, "Oh, like turn to page 5. Let's," you know, you just copy what the people around you are saying, and so most of your grammar falls into place by copying your parents. Then, of course, you go to school, but then, in my case, we didn't actually learn. I don't remember learning grammar until I went to secondary school, like high school. So all the way through elementary school, I was learning to read and write. But I wasn't learning basic grammar. I was picking it up accidentally, but I wasn't actually sitting down with a grammar book saying this is a noun, this is a verb, this is an adjective, or anything like that, and this is how you use it. So I think that something like the English Test, or is it actually an easy way to start correcting your grammar, or for people to start correcting their grammar, much more enjoyable than going through a grammar book. So what I'm trying to persuade, and I've got another student, and when she came to me, her grammar was terrible, and she said to me, "I can't speak English. Can you help me to pass IELTS?" And I thought this is going to be very difficult, but she has improved. She improved, but then she reached a level where she's just sort of staying at the same level. She's not making. So in the end, I insisted, and I told her to go to get some grammar classes at an academy. I said, you need to improve your grammar. And she went to 1 or 2, but it wasn't making much difference. And then I said to her, okay, look, stop doing IELTS revision and review, and just use the English Test Store and go through all of those quizzes in there, and just keep on practicing on the quizzes. And she suddenly made a jump. It does work. It actually does work. I knew it would, but she's the first one that I really pushed into it, and it's made a big difference. So I do recommend it. I think it's just like an easy way. Like today, a day like today, you don't want to sit down and read a book, and you don't really want to go to the academy, but you could go out with even with your phone, and with that link on your phone, you could just sit there and go, okay, I wonder what score I get on articles, or on gerund verbs, or on prepositions, and just work your way through the quizzes and see what scores you're getting, and bit by bit, that information will lodge in your mind. If you're getting 30 or 40% on the score, then you've got to focus on it, and you can go on to the others, and then you can go back and try again with the same. You can start again on those things and see how your score improves, and I guarantee your score will improve on those things.
But I don't have time to do that
You,
because I
you
went.
just told me you went and sat in a cafe.
No, I only have my rest time on Saturday because
Right.
I go to the academy from Monday to Friday and the other one on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I take a class with you.
Yeah.
And another class with 2 times a week. So many homeworks I have.
Right.
So
Okay. But homework takes up a lot of time. But when you travel to to the academy, how long does it take you to get to the academy?
one way,
Yeah.
almost 1 hour. So
But,
that time I do this script in the subway.
okay.
Yeah. And listen to the BBC radio while going to the there. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Okay. It is overload. I can understand that it is overload.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. But believe me, it works. It does work. My way does work.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's. How can children be taught the importance of helping others?
Helping others. I think there are many ways to teach children about helping people. Firstly, I think parents is most important because they spend children spend time with their family so much. So if parents show them how to help people, and I think that that could teach children.
Yes. Not teachy. Teach.
Teach.
Yes. But I agree. I agree with all that you said there. But how can children be taught? How can the parents teach the children? What's the process by which they can teach the children?
Parents give children to something in their home at home, like house chores. No.
I don't think so. Does it? How does that teach the importance of helping others? I would say that the parents can teach the children. Certainly, they're the best ones at the beginning, but by setting an example, by showing the children how they do it themselves, and including the children in that process. So if there's somebody else in the neighborhood, a neighbor or let's say a neighbor, might be an old person or a disabled person or something. By including the children in the process of helping that person, the children will be taught by example about how to help other people. That's just one way of answering the question, I think.
Okay.
Right. In what ways do communities help each other?
I think to hold flea market to correct money or to correct money. For example, people sell their clothes or furniture at cheap price, and the corrected money to give people who live hardly live.
So are you talking about donations, that they give donations?
Yeah.
And then they sell the donations to raise money to help people, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's well, it's just it's a different answer to the ones I've had before, so I'm just trying to get my head around what you're saying. Okay, that's certainly one way that communities can help each other. What about, is that something that you've seen in Korea? Have you seen that kind of thing happen in Korea, where communities help one another? Okay, where did you see it happen then?
I just saw a gym that I went to work out. They corrected some like school uniforms or a bunch of rice, bag of rice, and give uniforms and rice to someone.
To who?
I don't know exactly. To students who can't afford to buy uniform.
Okay.
Because it's really expensive.
Okay. All right. That's so what's a collective term for that kind of activity? How do we describe that normally?
What collective? People
Where people
charity?
Yes. Yes. Hold on to that thought, because that will be useful for you later on. Right. Okay. The next question is: are people nowadays more punctual than before? That's a different question. It's an odd one in this series, but
yeah, but
okay.
Well, I don't know. People in the past, how they live. More punctual, but these days people tend to try keep on time. Especially when they go to workplace, because that affects their their job.
Okay, that's all right. I mean, I think another way of extending this answer would be to say that people nowadays have less excuses than before about being punctual because there are so many devices on things like mobile phones that to inform them of appointments. Like you know, referring to your answer in part one. So you know, in the past, people didn't, you know, they might have had a diary, a paper diary, or they might have had a calendar on the wall at home, but you can't carry those things around with you. So actually, today it's much easier to be punctual than before, but that people don't necessarily still make the effort to be punctual. So a lot of people, I mean, you know, based on what I hear from my other students, Korean students, they say it's quite normal in Korea for people to be 15 minutes late for an appointment.
Late?
15 minutes late, yeah.
I don't
No?
think so.
You don't think so? This is my received wisdom from my other students, that they think it's actually that it's not a big deal. Maybe not for a job interview or not for work, but if socially, if they're supposed to be meeting people socially, that it's actually quite normal to turn up late.
I don't know. I don't know. 15 minutes? I don't know.
So you always turn up on time then?
Yeah. I just try.
Okay. Right. Okay. So next question, referring back to what we were just talking about before. So how do organizations like the Red Cross raise funds?
In Korea, people who is join that organization, they 홍보하다. They give to someone some leaflets to
Somewhat.
leaflet.
Okay. Yeah.
Leaflet to let them know about their organization and raise their funds. Also, people can join their organization with forms, with their forms.
It sounds like part of a song.
Oh, I have one more thing.
Yes. Go ahead.
In the internet, they use a lot internet method like Facebook or SNS. They advert their organization on the internet.
All right. In your opinion, are such organizations more effective at raising funds than smaller organizations? In other words, large organizations that, like the Red Cross, are they more effective at raising funds than smaller organizations?
No, I think large organization can get more funds than smaller one because I think large organizations are known already to people. So they don't need to effort on develop their organization than smaller one.
Okay. So do you think that large organizations like the Red Cross spend the money effectively on? Oh,
No.
why? Why not?
uh, I don't know exactly like Red Cross or UN, but I just heard about some weird information about them. They spend some money on useless things like such as for their pleasure, pleasure, like
Like expenses, that kind of thing. Food and travel and hotels and
yeah.
yes, yeah.
So I don't think they spend money effectively.
I absolutely agree with you. Totally agree. Yes. And they've come in for a lot of criticism, probably in the last. People used to trust, especially the Red Cross. It used to be trusted all around the world because it was such a, and when there were disasters like earthquakes or typhoons or tsunamis, the Red Cross was always amongst one of the first organizations to turn up and start giving medical help to people, and their reputation grew on that. But then they became more and more operating like a business rather than a charity, and so the structure of the Red Cross became like a business, like a corporation, and so they have a CEO at the top who gets a huge salary. Like it's not unusual for somebody in one of these organizations to get a $500,000 salary. But then people question that. They say that's not what I'm donating my money. I'm not donating money to give it to a CEO. I'm donating it because I want people on the ground at an earthquake to get that amount of bandages, first aid or whatever it might be. And they have very large offices. So even here in Davao City, there's very large Red Cross office, and they have lots of vehicles parked outside it, big four-wheel drive Toyota vehicles. So that they don't even have cheap vehicles; they have expensive vehicles. It's like a Toyota Lexus type vehicle. And it's all of that kind of thing that people no longer trust somebody like the Red Cross anymore. Because they've basically just become very, very professional. And I think somebody's worked out that if you donate $1, it's probably less than 10 cents that actually gets to the disaster area. The rest of it all disappears in running a business, basically. Right. In what ways can this kind of fundraising, in other words, for the Red Cross, help build international relations between different countries?
I heard about that from one of my friends. She connects with children who live in another country, usually a poor country, and they don't have enough method to educate So she sent some sketchbooks or crayons to them, and also they sometimes give send letters to each other.
Okay, but you've now got to bring that back to the question, which is building international relations between different countries. So how does that kind of charity, how does that build international relations between different countries?
I don't know. Relation. I think the children who give comment. The children might in the future, children might want to visit Korea.
Yes, absolutely right. Yes, yeah. So what they could do is set up some kind of exchange program between Korea and one of the other nurses that I talked to went to Cambodia, and she did some kind of, I don't know if it was nursing or an educational program she got involved in Cambodia. And
Yeah.
so I talked to her at some length because I wanted to find out what they were doing, how it worked. And I think in the end, once they'd educated these kids to a certain level, the best of them were then allowed to come to Korea to do some other kind of study. So obviously, if they want to become teachers or they want to become nurses or some other kind of medics, if they get the training in Korea and then they go back. So of course, but then between the two countries, you've got a steady flow of people going backwards and forwards, people from Korea to their country and from their country to Korea, where there's an educational process going on in both directions, because the Koreans are also learning about Cambodia and what's required there. And then when the Cambodians come to your country, they're learning about not just the education but also about life in Korea. And so as they advance in their careers in back in Cambodia, they will always have a good opinion about Korea, and they will tell other people, and maybe some of them will become part of the government or something. And so at a higher level, it will develop international relations between the two countries over a long period of time. I'm sure that's exactly what you were about to say.
Yeah, but I can't say like you.
These are hard questions. These are very hard questions. It requires a lot of thinking about when they're talking about those kinds of organisation. If I was to pull somebody in off the street from the UK and say, okay, I'd like to ask you some questions, but most people off the street, I don't know what you're talking about. I've got no idea.
Yeah, even in Korean.
It is difficult. Sometimes the questions in IELTS are very, very difficult. But you see that they're not. they're not really expecting you to know that much about it. What they're expecting you to do is to try and have a conversation about it. So, you can also ask questions. You can say what you know, and then you could have more of a conversation about it, where you try and get information back from the examiner. So it's a discussion. In part 3, it is a discussion. So you don't have to have all of the answers to, international relations between different countries. You might have a little bit of information, and if you answer with that, they might say to you, well, yes, that's correct. What about if this happened? And they give you an extra piece of information for you. But they want to see how you can develop the communication about that topic. It's not all the weight isn't on you in part 3. You don't feel that you have to answer have all the answers, because most people don't. 99% of people won't have all of the answers.
Yeah. But I I can't have a conversation. Even small conversation, I can't think. 싫어. 어려.
But these are exceptionally hard. And okay, let me just scroll down. What's the next set of questions? Yeah, the next ones are pretty hard as well. You're not going to enjoy those either. Anyway.
So, if you found this IELTS class useful, informative, or entertaining, please give it a like, subscribe, and share with other people who you think might benefit from these live IELTS class videos using actual examination topics. Most of the students participating in these classes are now living their dream in English-speaking countries around the world. If you want classes with me, you can contact me on X, LinkedIn, MS Teams, or Viber. Details are given in the description below or on the About page for this channel. Thank you.